lads, Kosh here from Kosh Bushcraft, and this is a tutorial on how I got these firework, the different sets of firework, to end up with this effect round the knife. Now, as I was trying to learn this myself and watching videos on YouTube and such, it suddenly became apparent that if I show you this firework, you're not going to be able to see it. It doesn't matter how I set it up on the camera, the minute I start filing, the work is covered. For me to get a proper angle over it and mess about, you're just not going to be able to see it, which is what most videos show you, and you just can't get the grasp of it, because when they're showing you his arm and everything's covering the camera, or some of them have set the camera up more cleverly, but even when the file goes over it, you're not seeing it anywhere. And if you film it from the top, I can't show you the angle of the file, and if I film it from the side, I'm going to cover it when I move. So unless I filmed it from 10 different angles, it just can't show you the firework on it. So we're going to go through. I'm going to start off with, we're going to call these the walls. Let's call these the walls. These are the walls of the design. Two designs sandwiching another design. Yeah? So the two walls, let's talk about them first. Right. The measurement on this, I believe, is a centimetre from the centre of that to the centre of that. Yeah? Right, so what it is you measure it out around your blade. It's always better to try this on a piece of rough steel, do you know, like practice steel or whatever, a bit that you've got or whatever. That's where I practiced in, to get the same pattern. That's my practice. That's actually the first time I'd ever done it, put a file to steel and had a go at firework. So as you can see, it wasn't that hard. So you need to work out your distance, which is best done by seeing what it looks like on the steel, on a piece of little cut off of the same steel you're using, or something the same thickness, even if it's just a bit of mild steel or whatever. But let's start with the wall. You measure a distance from 2 points. Yeah? So the distance is determined on the size of your files. Yeah? So, I mean, these are exactly specific files for the job. I've got a triangle file, a round file, a couple of little files. This one's, I call it a knife file. It's thicker on this end and thinner on that, like a knife blade. I think that's the best file to be going with for certain bits. So the whole file work on this is done at a right angle. So if this is the surface of the knife edge, or the metal edge, yeah, all of the file work on this are done at a right angle. So if you look at it that way, imagine this is where its work's going. A right angle is perfectly taking the corner off. Not like that, not like that. Perfectly taking the corner off. Doesn't have to be super precision, don't think it does. As long as you're taking that corner off like that. Yep. All this edge line is done at that right angle. So if you imagine you're filing at that right angle to make whatever shape the file is there. Yep. Right, so bear with me. At the first mark, use a round file, whatever size round file yours may be a different measurement for what you need to get, but it's not hard to find out how. You just put the mark on your steel, file in until you get a distance away from there. Leave a little bit at the edge there, so you're not going all the way through the steel, you're only going to there. The first distance you do, you want all the other ones to be roughly the same. I mean, you can go back if one's bigger than other and make them all that big, but so just leave a little gap there. And then your next mark of the steel, you do the same thing. Oop. Let's see if I can draw the line a bit straighter than that, Chris. So, the next time you do another one, and the triangle file is the bit that does the notch here. And if you can see the way I've marked that out, it doesn't fit. It's not the pattern we was after, which means your file's too big or your marks need to be closer up, wider apart. Now this is obviously a drawing, so it's thicker, but if I do the same mark again, the spacing needs to be a little bit of a gap like that. You want a little gap in the middle so that when you've done your two file marks, that gap there is a flat edge and there's a bit of surface there between it. You measure the distance between them two and then you carry on with the pattern. Carry on with the pattern all the way around the knife. Yeah. Then, so that's your round file. Yeah. If this gap here, flat, is too close together, you won't be able to get the next bit in, so you need to leave a gap. The thickness of your steel and the file you're using are going to change how the distance apart you need to start these round file marks. Yeah, so you'll have to work that out yourself on your own piece of steel. On 3mm steel with this file, it was 1 centimetre apart. So we've got this down your steel. The next file I'm going to use is a triangle file. You're going to use the triangle shape on it, which is one edge, not the flat side, actual edge, a triangle shape on it. The same right angle that you were filing at before, that we talked about. And you're going to do that in between, exactly in between, the same right angle, in between each one of the marks you've made. And you just go in enough, it'll start in the middle like a little slot and it'll start getting bigger but in a triangle shape, and you want to go in about that much, and then when you nick it in you want to leave it so it's just a little flat edge, so it's not pointed, it's just a little flat edge on either side, a little bit of this flat bit left on either side as you cut in. And then if I just colour it in a bit, if you imagine these shaded in, well, you don't have to imagine it because I'm doing it right now, painstakingly doing it for you. That is missing now because you filed it away. All the grey bit there is missing because you filed it away. And what you end up with is, remember, you're not looking at the edge of the knife, we're looking on the top of the knife, not the side of the knife there, we're looking at the top. The pattern sits on the top. So when you look at it from the top there, you've got a little dimple there, smooth line coming up to it, and then the next one would be done again. Don't think these have to be perfect, these marks, because you can go along, and as you get along, you'll see that the pattern adds up anyway, even if it's not perfect, as long as you've got them something like. Do you know what I mean? But you can see now, as these are shading off, that the edge of the knife, which is still white, the shape we got by doing them simple marks. Put my file on my knife, that wasn't very clever. The shape of the knife is the file marks that we've got there. And that's a simple thing. It's not a hard thing, as long as you've got that knife at a right angle, take it, the file at a right angle, taking the corner off of it. You can see how that was just a little bit of file. It's only gone in a little touch on it, the file, to get that shape. Maybe it takes us a couple of seconds, a couple of files up and down on brass to get that shape there. Same with the round ones. Now